Hello YouTube, this is storyteller BJ Foltz. I mostly made this because I figured that my friends would want some entertainment during this trying and rather boring time of our lives. So, with that out of the way, Sleepwalkers of Night Realm. Read by the author. Chapter 1. Things get real weird, real fast. Have you ever looked back at your life and just thought, I wish I could be a kid again? Well, I did. A lot. When I was in 4th grade, I wished that I could be 10 forever. I was the straight A, popular, athletic kid everyone loved or wanted to be like. I might have been a bit closer to the mark than I thought because I began going downhill immediately after. Middle school, learned I was a big fish in a small pond. High school, a charisma I had long gone. College, dropped out because my girlfriend had a baby. Marriage, ended in a fiery explosion. As a cherry on top of the poop sundae my life became, she wound up dead. Despite being completely innocent, I was convicted and sentenced to prison, so hooray! I reached my ultimate potential at age 10. Lucky me, am I right? Oh, sorry. The name's Peter. Peter... someone, I guess. What I told you before, it's all I remember about my life. I know things were different, bits and pieces really, but... sorry. Got off track, didn't I? How about I start from when I can remember a bit more clearly? Bear with me. It's a weird story. Ahem. The last thing I remember when things were normal was the last night. I was led back to my cell in a line, my cellmate right behind me, Mikey, a gangly black kid who I guess could only recently be considered an adult. Thought for the 100th time how much of an odd couple we were. Mikey's demeanor screamed jailbird. Shifty-eyed, scruffy, hunched a bit as if to make him look smaller. And I was a 6-foot white guy with mussed blonde hair and a short beard. When we got to our cell, Mikey clambered onto the top bunk. "Don't you go stabbing me, Pete," he said. "No promises," I murmured, getting onto my cot. I stopped telling him I wouldn't a long time ago. I think he was aware of that too. He made a mischievous snicker. "Hey, Pete," he asked quietly. "If you want to hit up, I've only got a few days left, and I could put in a good word for..." "If I wanted to check it, I'd tell you, Mikey," I yawned. "Anyway, shut up. Stan's gonna be here, and I want to at least look like I'm sleeping." Stan was the main guard. Big guy, looked like his mother was a bulldog. Nice enough, but no patience. One toe out of line and he'd smack you over the head before you could even say what was going on. I should have known something was up when I closed my eyes. Mostly, Mikey would send me to sleep by going on and on about his family, how his cellie would get his sister through college, and how his arrest was a total setup. But this time, I drifted off almost immediately. No dreams, just a nice, soft blackness to gently beckon me to sleep. Squeak! The doors opened. That's the next thing I knew. I came to and, oddly enough, found myself swimming in my jumpsuit. "What the heck?" I asked as I tried getting off my bed. Instead, I wound up face first on the floor. Somehow it got farther off the ground than I remembered. Wait, did I say heck? I hadn't used that word in... Wait, was that my voice? I looked at my hands and they were smaller. Much smaller. I felt my face. No trace of my old beard, just smooth skin. What the heck? Why the heck was I saying heck? Why'd I say it again? I got up and ran to the mirror. Since it was taller than I was, I had to get on my tiptoes, and nearly fell on my butt again. The face that looked back to me was one I hadn't seen in more than a decade. The face of my 10-year-old self. Holy cow! Now that was a phrase I remembered using, right when my little sister brought out my birthday cake and a new bicycle. Which brought me to another question. Why couldn't I swear? I rubbed my smooth cheeks before sharply slapping one. It stung, but I didn't wake up. That rolled out dreaming. What's going on? I asked, exploring my face. Pete? Asked a high voice. Is that you? With a yelp, I jumped and wheeled over. There was a 7-year-old kid in an overly large white t-shirt standing in the doorway of the cell, casually spinning a key on his ring finger and looking at me in shock. Who are... I then realized who this kid was. Mikey? Dude, I didn't... He stammered, walking over and looking me over in surprise. Must have... Wow! Mikey, what's going on? I asked. I know, I just wound up like this, he said. Was fine one moment. Next I passed for my kid cousin. How'd you get... I looked over Mikey's shoulder and saw that just outside our cell was an empty guard uniform. The keys belong to Stan, Mikey said. Just like that. Scope things out and it's mostly that. I think we're the only ones left in the whole cell block. I still stared at the empty clothes. That was Stan's uniform. I saw the old chocolate stain. He said it was from his granddaughter's 5th birthday. Either the old guard had suddenly decided to go streaking or something had happened. Something about this chilled me to the bone. Or maybe that's because my clothes fell off me. That's what I told myself. Give me a second, Mikey, I said. Don't drop the soap, Pete, he snickered. Hardy har, I murmured as I pulled on my old shirt, which now felt like I was wearing a much too big poncho. I took the belt and wrapped it around my midsection. Wasn't much, but it'd do. For the first time I looked out the window. It was pitch black, like it was an eclipse or something, but there wasn't a star in the sky. And just looking out there made me feel... scared. I turned away and walked to the doorway. After rummaging through the empty clothes, I found Stan's old baton and tapped it against my palm. It had been used a few times to hit me over the head when I got mouthy, which was a lot. Mikey, I asked, how much did you explore? Not far beyond the next few cells, he said. Something about the darkness, man, just creeps me out. Well, staying here's not going to fix much, I said, smiling and hoping Mikey didn't realize that I was scared too. Plus, we're armed now. Yeah, we got this, Mikey said, fitting the keys into his fist before handing me a flashlight. Good thing Stan kept this on him, right? You lead. You're bigger. And if we run into anything, it'd be too busy with me to get to you, right? I joked, taking the flashlight. With a click, it turned on and let me see so much more. With that, I took the first step out of the cell. My heart felt like it jumped into my throat, but I took the next step. Mikey was willing to do it, so what's the worst that could be out there? As I took step after step, I heard Mikey walk behind me. Every little step felt like its own little act of bravery, but all the while, I had that little tingle in the back of my head, like when I first watched Nightmare on Elm Street. I knew something bad might happen, but I didn't know what. I began running the baton across the prison bars, hoping a little sound would break that. It didn't. If anything, the little clangs made the situation much worse. The way they echoed across the empty halls sounded spooky. Not helping were the piles of empty clothes we come across. Pete, Mikey asked, almost making me jump out of my skin again. Don't do that, I hissed. I'm a little edgy right now. You hear that? He asked. Yeah, that's my heart going a mile a minute. Thanks to... Then I heard it too. A shuffling noise. Something that sounded like murmuring. Then someone came around the corner. It was one of the guards looking not much different than he did before. He looked at the light and halted, almost as if he was confused. This doesn't seem like the right way, he mumbled. Sorry, sir, I said. This might sound weird, but... No, sorry, we got lost in here by accident. Could you tell me where my dad is? He's our chaperone, Mikey whimpered as he huddled close to me. What are you doing, dummy? I asked. You'll thank me if it gets us out of here, Mikey whispered mischievously. Smells good, the guard said as he began to trudge forward. Something about his pace seemed to be off. What? I asked. Look, we're Peter and Mike. Mikey. Dinner! The guard cheered as he began running towards us. Run! Mikey shouted. I didn't need any more encouragement than that. The moment Mikey turned and ran, I was following him. I didn't know what this guard was doing, but I didn't want to find out. The way he shouted dinner while running at us gave me an idea, but I didn't want confirmation. Before I knew it, Mikey had led us back to our cell. I jumped right after him just before he slammed the door shut, hurriedly locking it, and as the guard came right up to the bars. He grabbed onto them and began reaching for us. I whacked at him with my baton, making him grunt pain before Mikey punched at his face with a fistful of keys. He recoiled, stumbling back with a few bright red marks on his face. Someone get the license number, he murmured before he stood up and began shuffling away. What was that? I asked, my heart once again racing faster than Secretariat. Sure, ask me, 'cause I know, Mikey panted. We're kids, and the first person we see tries to... I gulped, refraining from saying what I was thinking. That only would have made this seem too real. But then something hit me. When we first found that guard, I tried saying our names. I got Peter and Mike down, but... Mikey, I asked, what's your last name? Like I forget, it's... Mikey's confidence came to a halt almost immediately. Cousin? Carlisle? Cameron? I know it starts with a C. Or was it a D? Hey Pete, do you remember it? I only shook my head. Mikey was someone who always let people know who his family was. Not because it was particularly notable, but because he was just so proud of it. He swore by his family name so many times that I'd hear it in my dreams. But now, I was drawing a blank. I quickly tried to remember what he would say. Or if my name isn't Michael... And that's as far as I got. For that matter, I couldn't remember my last name. As far as I knew, I was just Peter. So, what now, Pete? Mikey asked, though I could tell that this missing knowledge was scaring him. I don't know, I said. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm like this, and I sure as heck don't know why I don't remember stuff that I know I knew this morning! Or why the heck I keep saying heck instead of what I want to say, darn it! But how do you really feel? Mikey asked with a shaky laugh. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, I murmured, folding my knees and grabbing them. This morning I wanted out of this place as soon as possible. Now I just want to stay in my cell. Well then, that's gonna be a problem, came a sneering voice. Standing just outside the bars was another kid, probably only a year older than I currently was, with an East Asian complexion and wild black hair. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit with the sleeves and legs bunched all the way up to the shoulders, a pair of sunglasses, and an American flag patterned bandana around his neck. His arms were folded, showing the tattoos decorating them. Even as a child, it was easy to recognize one of the more feared prisoners in the cell block. Tiger, Mikey and I whimpered together. We made our business to avoid this guy. Even as a kid, he clearly invoked the burly Korean man. I was wrongly arrested. Mikey was put here for something minor, but Tiger was every inch the person you'd expect to be put in here. An outlaw biker who everyone deferred to. Even the guards were hesitant to confront him. Mikey was the first to speak as he laughed shakily. I guess you know why we're don't care dweebs, Tiger said. You two are coming with me, like it or not. Get it, got it, good. Now get out of there, or else things are gonna get loud. No disrespect, I said, trying my best to sound friendly, But I gotta say, no. The only other guy we've met is one guard, and I think he tried to eat us, and besides, we're in here, and Mikey's got the keys, and... Yeah, but there's one thing you didn't account for, Tiger said, pulling out a pistol, and then pointing it right at us. I've got this. So either come out of that cell, or I'm doing some target practice. Don't worry, babies. Those mean old weirdos won't bother us. Daddy Tiger promises. The two of us gulped as we looked at each other. We both came to the same conclusion. Mikey slowly stood up and unlocked the door. Tiger opened it and ushered with his gun. Just to be safe, I put my hands up as I walked out. Good. Now go on. Don't worry. I got your back, kiddies. Tiger sneered. Mikey and I shared a look with each other. Without saying a word, we understood each other perfectly. This was the strangest, most terrifying thing we had ever woken up to. Quietly, we went ahead of Tiger. I knew prison life would change a person, but this was something else. Okay, I'll post chapter 2 when I get to it. This was actually a bit of a different step for me, because I'm mostly used to writing sort of a high fantasy or historical bit, but this was my first time in writing something more zombie-ish. But I couldn't really stick to it just being flesh-eating corpses. I had to have a different spin on it, a different take. And I did, by throwing in some age reduction and, as you'll find out later, Lovecraftian elements. See you next time.